believe that there are a lot of things that need to be said in this election that I don't think will be said without my participation in it. I believe that I have an excellent chance of winning, or else I wouldn't be doing it. The polls that I have seen recently only confirm that, and so put that together, and I think it's only logical.
What kind of polls have you seen? Have you been doing these polls yourself?
No. Well, the most recent that I saw was actually done by a pollster who works mostly for Trump. I never heard of him, never saw him before, but he's become my favorite pollster. I will tell you that because it was really pretty interesting, and it has me ahead. I have 22 or 3% in the primary. The next person down is Walker Stapleton with 8. Below that is George with 6, and then everybody else sort of below that. Now, that's 50% or more undecided, of course. But when you start out with that, I mean, that's a lot of name recognition I don't have to buy. Of course, I've always said, the good thing is I have a lot of name recognition. The bad thing is I have a lot of name recognition. And so, but anyway, that, and then I saw Floyd Cerulli's poll, and or at least I saw him talking about it, in which he had the same outcome.
The one you saw from Trump, what is that? First of all, what does that mean that you saw? Like, who from the Trump administration has a poll out there?
Nobody. I didn't know who he was. When it was published, the reporter who was writing about it said that that's who he was. I didn't know it.
What kind of questions were asked that you were involved in it?
I don't know. I didn't say, I just saw the end results. And it was, as I said, but the most interesting one was that I was head-to-head with Polis. I was tied. So that was a pretty important part of this whole decision-making process.
So why suddenly 1 year and 1 week before the general election, and 8 months or so till the primary, did you suddenly have that, I want to do this? Because I know a few months ago it was, I'm upset with the Republicans for not responding to the VDARE controversy.
Yeah, and certainly I'm upset with anybody that does not speak out in favor of free speech. That's the issue, but it is not the motivating issue that gets me into a primary. The fact is that, I've certainly thought about this. The polling I just mentioned to you was a big factor, and the fact that in order to be successful, I mean, you have to start cultivating delegates to the convention. You know what I mean? There's a lot that has to happen before that primary date, and you better start early. Raising money, that's pretty important, and I always am, I guess it's, I am gratified by the fact that I always have the highest percentage of small donors of anybody running. But it's also a challenge because that takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it's pretty expensive, by the way, to actually obtain those dollars. And so there's just a lot of work that needs to be done, and you got to get started.
You have to go through either the petition or the Congress.
Right, and either one costs a lot of money.
Which do you plan on going through?
Right now, I guess I'd say it's a 50-50 deal. I have to kind of look at it as time goes by. How much are we going to raise? Because we have to, if you're going to go through the process of soliciting signatures, that's a very expensive undertaking now. And so, that would be I would guess that would be my fallback position. But I don't know yet.
Who's your base? Who do you want voting for you?
Every Colorado citizen. That's who I want voting for me. I don't think I'll probably get that, but I believe that there is a group of people, and I think a fairly large group of people, who are disdainful about politics and politicians, who don't think people in politics tell them what they're really going to do when they get in. I think that they have a bad taste in their mouth about politics in general. I hope I can convince them that, there are people out there who actually do say the things that they're going to do, even if they're very unpopular with a lot of people. I think that that's important. I think people who look for individuals who are truthful. And, you can accuse me of a lot of things, and I will, believe me, hear a lot of accusations. I know that. But nobody can say that I've not been upfront with how I think about the issues that are important in Colorado.
As you look toward a primary, the biggest conservative challenger right now appears to be George Brockler,
Yeah.
that you guys would be maybe competing for the same
Well,
primary votes.
yeah.
How do you appeal to the non-extreme right?
Yeah, well, as I say, right now, the polling doesn't have George, in a position that looks like it can be terribly competitive. But I will say this. George Brockler is the smartest guy in the Republican primary. And now that I'm in it, that hasn't changed a bit.
Are you soliciting help from Washington, from Steve Bannon?
Believe me, if Steve Bannon were to say to me, Tom, we can put a lot of money into this campaign, I'd say, great, go right ahead. But he has not said that.
When was the last time you talked?
It was approximately a month ago, I think. There was a lot of hoopla around that when he was here in Colorado Springs. I've not talked to him since.
So he's no involvement from Steve Bannon to say, Tom, run for governor, and I'll make sure that you're the Republican nominee.
No, he has not said that.
But would you want that?
Well, I don't think he could even remotely promise that. But believe me, as I say, if he said, we can help you with financial support, I would absolutely take it.
Do you want to be seen side by side with President Trump?
Well, that wouldn't bother me at all. I don't think he ever gets into these governor's races, but if he wants to, that's cool. I'd like to have him come out and do a fundraiser. I just came from Iowa day before yesterday, where I was at an event with an old friend, Steve King, and Donald Trump Jr. was there. I didn't ask him to come out, but it's not a bad idea. Now that I think of it.
Fool me once, 2010. Fool me twice, 2014.
Right.
What makes this?
Well, the way you said that is important. First of all, 2010 was a unique situation in which I ran as a Constitution Party candidate and had every Republican elected official, including the state party chairman, supporting me. Right? That was 2010. Running as a Constitution Party candidate, I got 37% and the Republican got 11%. Right? Okay, a unique, weird situation. Move to 2014. There was some fooling going on, and I was fooled. I did not expect the Republican Governors Association to come into this race and at the last 10 days and put in $250,000 against me. And I had absolutely no money left in the bank. We were totally surprised by it, and I had to sit there and watch while my numbers went down. And they were able to nominate another person who ended up losing the race. And it was the only statewide race the Republicans lost. So, but I don't intend to get fooled like that again. I will tell you this. The Republican establishment is not on my side. Certainly the Democrat establishment is not on my side. But I believe that there is a group of people, a large group of people, that will, accept the fact that there is sort of an outsider candidate. It looked to me like in that poll that was the case. And I don't want crony capitalists supporting me. I don't want the support of people who are absolutely opposed to having any sort of, reform in the area of immigration policy. And they won't support me. They certainly won't. But I think a lot of other people will. And I hope so, because I think that's what's good for the state. But there are so many other issues that the state of Colorado has to address, and I certainly am willing and desirous of addressing them too.
Did you see the Colorado GOP tweet from last night?
I didn't.
It says, this state party is committed to perfect neutrality in the primary. Primary voters must be allowed free choice. May the best candidate win.
Bada boom.
Do you believe them?
I do, because I've talked to Jeff Hayes about that very thing. And he has, pretty much straight to my face, and I think in a truthful way said, hey, we're not going to get in. We're going to give you whatever we give anybody else. He's okay. It is, when I talk about the establishment Republicans, I'm talking about, the big corporate, especially home builders, those folks that are just as, would rather see Polis, can you imagine, would rather see Polis in the office of governor than Tancredo because of this issue of immigration. It's amazing.
Looking forward, you see what Denver's done as it relates to ICE and communication with the.
I would try my best to punish the city of Denver in any way I could for operating in such an illegal and reckless fashion. And if that meant in some way denying funds to them, to the extent that a governor can do that, and that's not clear, I must tell you, I would do it. I would also do this. I would establish a fund in the governor's office. Probably would have to be private money. But I would establish a fund that would support, defend any City of Denver employee, cop, or any other employee who gets fired and fined because they speak to an ICE agent. I mean, this is absolutely incredible that they have even suggested this, hinted at it, and their ordinance certainly does. I mean, they try to couch it in, they try to go around it and say, well, unless, of course, it's against federal law. But the way they have done it, they have put the fear of God into their own employees. I've had cops come up to me at an event not too long ago. It was called, it was a motorcycle run for fallen police officers and for their families. MC1. And I had these two cops come up to me and go, they threatened that if I even talked to an ICE agent, I'd get fired. Now, I'm telling you, if that happens and I'm governor, I'm going to protect them. I'll give them a job if I can. I would, if they got fired, and I would certainly try to create a fund that would defend them in court. This is just absolutely incredible to me. The city of Denver is telling people that they must help them break the law. Astounding.
Are you still on the board of VDARE?
No, I am not.
When did that end?
Month, maybe. Not sure.
Why did it end?
Because if I was going to do this especially, I'm sure there are things, although I must admit I don't read them, but I'm sure there are things that that they'll support that I won't, and I'm sure that there are things I'll support and they don't, and they're a C3 and they don't like to get involved in these kinds of, and they can't, so it's better to just leave them all behind.
What is one thing that you would support that VDARE would not support?
Well, I don't know. It's when you get into this arena, there are a whole bunch of issues that come up that I can't even predict right now. So it's just simply a better way to deal with it, as far as I'm concerned. And they agree with that. So no, I am not. But I know where this station. I know where you are, especially on this. You were the most aggressive. I'll put it that way. A media outlet on that whole issue. And I'm going to tell you now, and I don't know that you'll ever let this go forward on the air, but I know who I am, and I am not a white supremacist. I am not a KKK supporter. I have no animus, zero, against any human being on this planet because of their skin color or ethnicity. I never have. I never will. And the fact that I know that my opponents, and maybe even some parts of the media, are going to try to make that into this, try to connect that into this campaign, I'm telling you, it's got nothing, in my frame of reference, has nothing to do with race. Not my political race or any other part of my existence. And I just want you to know that. And as I say, because it's important to me to have you understand who I am. You can attack me for a lot of things, the positions I've taken, but not for who I am. I know who I am, and it's not the kind of person I think a lot of people would like to try to portray me as.
When people hear that, and they'll hear that, what you
Good.
just said, how does that mesh with your position on immigration? When you say you're not against anything related to skin color,
I'm not.
people will hear, well, how does that mesh with immigration?
Because it has nothing to do with ethnicity or country of origin or anything like that. Look, approximately 40% of the people who are here illegally, okay, in this country right now, did not come here across that border, that southern border. They came on a visa from all over the world, from Scandinavia and Germany and, every place. And they just stayed. They overstayed their visa. They are here illegally. That should not be allowed. The idea of enforcing the law and trying to make a more homogeneous society, and I do not mean that from the standpoint of race. We have assimilated people into this country for 100 years from everywhere on the planet and from every background. But the key word here is assimilation. And so that is what I ask for. That is what I hope for. And it's got nothing to do with race. You can assimilate into American society regardless of your color or ethnicity. And so all I can tell you is that there are issues that have nothing to do with race that are important in terms of the debate over immigration. And I try to make those issues, and I try to enter into that debate, and it's always dangerous because the minute you do so, it's this other thing, this specter of, white supremacists and all that stuff. Here's another thing I will tell you, and I hope we can get on. You know what I would like to do as governor? I would like to have, and I would form a task force. Maybe it would be CBI, maybe it would be, I'm not sure now how exactly it would work, but I would like to form a task force that had a specific responsibility. And that responsibility would be to look into this hate group thing here in Colorado. I want to know who these people are on both sides. I want to know what they're up to and whether or not they pose a danger. I have a feeling, and I will just tell you, this is my observation. I have no empirical evidence about this, but I don't know where all of these KKK and white supremacists, I don't doubt they're there, but I don't believe they could fill this room in the entire state of Colorado. But if there are, and believe me, I'm talking not about that, I'm talking about Antifa and white supremacists. Both of them are hate groups, as far as I'm concerned. And I certainly want this, I want to identify them. I really want to know who these people are. And I want, if they do something, and I want to, protect the citizens against any actions they might take that are illegal and violent. But I want to know, I just want to know who these people are.
Do you believe VDARE is a hate group?
No, I don't. I mean, they say, look on their site, and it says, we are our primary thing here is we are opposed to illegal immigration. That's it. That's the only thing that attracted me to them in the first place. But I don't believe they are a hate group. But even if they turned out to be, and they wanted to have a conference in Denver or in Colorado Springs, why wouldn't we all, you and the media, say, yeah, they have a right to do that? If Antifa wants to have a meeting or march in the street, why would we stop them? I wouldn't. I would protect them. Because the important thing here, the important concept, is not who you're protecting, it's the First Amendment that you're protecting. It's free speech. That should be all of our goal. You in the media, and certainly me as a policymaker, should I become one. It should be the protection of free speech, because it's such an important part of who we are in this country. And believe me, I don't like the things Antifa says. I think they are a hate group. But you know what? If I'm governor, they're going to be protected in their right to express themselves. And so would Vidar.
And I just want to be clear, you didn't decide to run for governor because of response to
No,
all of that.
No. Lots of other stuff. You know, that was a very emotional response I had, absolutely. And I'm still ticked off about the fact that no one would speak out in defense of free speech. I just can't get over it. I mean, I don't expect any Republican to come out and support Tom Tancredo, to ability to speak there, and I don't expect them to support Vidar's ability to hold their conference there. But just the idea of free speech, just to say to the mayor of Colorado Springs, no, you can't, as mayor, say you're not going to provide support, you're not going to provide city services. I mean, remember, Vidar was not asking for a permit to have a march or a rally or anything that was designed to foment response. I mean, it was in the Cheyenne Mountain Resort Center. It was going to be 100 people, maybe, I don't know. But there would have never been any issue whatsoever. People would have come, gone home, that would have been it. No, all of a sudden it turns into this massive thing, and the mayor tells them he won't provide city services. Impossible for me to believe that there was nobody in the state that would say, that is wrong. That is wrong. You can't do that. You're stepping out of your role as mayor, and you are abridging the right of free speech. I'm still amazed at that.
You told me who you want to vote for you. Who don't? Is there anyone you don't want voting for you?
Yeah, I do. I do not want anybody who thinks who is in fact a white supremacist or supports me on that basis. If that's why you're supporting me, I will tell you I don't want your vote, because I'm not your guy.